De mare.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome, family. Welcome back. To those of you who are coming back, welcome back. To those of you who are stopping by for the first time, greetings. Tell us where you're tuning in from. My name is Dima Mahmoud, and I am the mama of Africa Week 2020, and I have my sister here with me, a tata of Africa Week 2020. This is Auntie.
Hello. How's it going? One of my dreams just came through on Africa Week today.
Tell me.
So I go to this restaurant. I don't know if you caught it, but I go to this restaurant called Bete Lucas here in Portland, Oregon, which is one of the best restaurants in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Akadi, which I did on Monday, and Bete Lucas on Tuesday, both two of the best restaurants in the world. And Peter Tesfu of Bete Lucas, his sister is the chef in the restaurant, and Belin, and Peter Tesfu cooked today live. So the recipe is there for those of you who like to go through all of our videos. The recipe for Yikalicha what is in the Africa Week archives now from the best restaurant, the best Ethiopian cooks I've ever had in my whole life. Welcome from Toronto to Bayambor. Hello.
Hello.
Toronto.
Welcome. If the truth shall kill them, let them die. Yes!
If the bush.
Can we put that back up just please? Please. Can we?
I don't see it from where I. Blessings from Toronto, yeah.
Yeah, the profile picture is.
Oh, the profile picture. If the truth,
let them die.
I mean,
that's all. I don't think anything else needs to be said. I'm just kidding.
So anyway, getting back to the food, this is my favorite dish. I could live on Yakikali. You know how you have those dishes where it's like, if I really had to choose one thing to eat, this would be one of them, you know? Yakikalicha from Bete Lucas, specifically here in Portland, is one of those dishes. And so I order from them often. And like I have a budget for Bete Lucas and I have a budget for Akadi. And always. And so I've been trying to learn how to cook Yakikalicha for over a year. He shared some tips with me, and you know, I've been doing it, but I just haven't been like hitting like an even familiar spot, you know, and I've been eating a lot of split yellow peas for a while. And so I gave up on it for a while and they came back, you know, and then he agreed last 2 weeks ago to come to Africa Week and teach and share a recipe that's like, they've mastered their recipes. They're like really well known. You know, people come to Portland and go to Bete Lucas, you know. So he shared that whole recipe with us today and told us about.
The fact that I'm saying isn't that I know the restaurant or that I know the food, but I know chefs because my sister is a third generation chef.
There you go.
And do anything for our mom. She will not share that recipe with my mom. Mom's like, give me the recipe. No. So that's real love.
Yeah.
And
And I kept saying that to him too. I was like, that this is a worldwide, like, people watch this. Look, we have somebody from Toronto here. People from everywhere in the world are going to see this. Are you sure you want to share this recipe? And he was like, yeah. And his sister Beline, who's the chef in the restaurant, did it with him. And Minnie, his wife, is always in the restaurant as well. Also was there, and his daughter was there. The only person that his mother was there. The only person we didn't see was his son, whose name is Lucas. He was the only one not there. But yeah, that was a big highlight of my day, of my life. Really, that was a really big deal. And I made my own yakikalicha earlier, so I was like eating it at the end.
I'm proud of you, Alexandra. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
What was your highlight today?
Oh, my day was exhausting.
Yeah.
Exhausting, definitely, but so full of magic. Oh, so full of such great energy from starting. So I had, I have the What's Right with Africa chat first thing in the morning, my time. And Mazen tuned in because he was up and ready because he had the panel at 9, the Black Men Mentoring and Mental Health, which, by the way, was just amazing. If you've missed it, go back and watch it.
Okay.
So great. Mazen comes in and, asking him what's right. He's like, okay, so I have 2 things that he wanted to share. What was the first thing was, more people are reclaiming their narrative. More people, especially from the continent, but specifically the indigenous and marginalized of the continent, are reclaiming their narratives, are stepping up, are saying this is ours. And, it might have been taken and it might have been spread across the country, and now it might be something that is for the full country, but it's still ours, and there's more of that. And then he said his inbox had been, he'd been getting all these DMs of people telling him to go to Africa Week 2020 because the conversations are fire. And it's like, yes, are these people that you told about? He's like, oh no, these people have been, either tuned in or followed from the inaugural Africa Week 2020 in May, and they're seeing this, and it was so amazing to start the day knowing that not only are people coming back, and people are really tagging or sharing with other people, like we're asking them to say, listen, there's some real things happening here. There's some real conversations happening here. There's some action going on, and don't miss it. So I was very, very grateful for that. Very grateful for that.
Awesome.
That Black Man panel was just.
I look forward to it. I in the morning when I was with the 2 littles, I tried to share what came up on my feed. It's funny when we do the big events like this, even though I'm staring at the calendar all the time, I forget like what's actually happening.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least 3 times mid-panel, I would think that another panel is about to start, but I'd remember that, actually, I'd go back to the calendar just to check and double check, but it would be something that's going to be tomorrow or, after tomorrow, whichever. But I guess that's one of the things that happens when you're juggling all these dates and all these time zones and all these amazing topics, and you're mentally telling yourself, I have to be part of this. Like literally every single session we have, at some point, I do be like, I have to be part of this, or okay, I need to remember that this is it, or you remember someone who would need to tune into this. But yeah, I'm grateful that we have them all recorded and on the page, so that whatever we do miss,
it's right there.
I can watch. Yeah.
I'm on YouTube.
Yeah. And on YouTube as well.
I've been sharing the ones, and I hope people do this too. I've been sharing the ones because I'm in 1,000 Facebook groups, and I'm like, like this one would be really good for this spirituality. Like I shared the the grandmother speaking about spirituality. I shared that in like 3 or 4 of my spirituality women's groups. With the schedule, with our schedule too. But I shared that in there because, obviously on my pages as well, because, the conversation, it's interesting, the Facebook groups I'm in, there's so many questions, whatever the subject is, there's so many questions in those groups where everybody's kind of jumping in, and we're actually holding the conversations that those people are wanting to have and be a part of here at Africa Week 2020. So if, for those of you who are listening, if you're in those Facebook groups where people are asking questions that we're answering, share these videos in those groups. We could use your help in that way, and that's a really good way to be a family member and support us in these conversations that are happening, is spreading the word. Just like Dima was talking about what Mazen was experiencing. Hey, editor, this is our managing editor, Bisu.
Manager, don't demote him. This is manager editor Bisu.
Oh my Lord. This is like
Family, please join us, add your voice to the conversation. Come and tell us what the highlight of your day was, high point, low point, something you learned that you'd like to share, something that blew your mind, something that made you smile. If it's something that made you cry, come, we'll cry with you. Or, kiss it away or something. But come, this is a family hour. Join us.
Anybody can chat if you want. I would love to share. Is now the right time? I would love to share those pictures from downtown.
Yeah.
All this artwork from downtown. Let's see. How do I screen share? It's funny the things you forget how to do once you've done them 1,000 times. So, like, right, for those of you who don't know the protests and stuff that's happening in Portland, the good, bad, and the ugly.
From the Quran? Or no, that's the Hadith.
There's a lot of Arabic going on down there. Arabic writing. I don't know how much you can read from that.
No, that the Arabic one that's under the heart, it says there's no difference between an Arab and a non-Arab except by their faith.
Except by their what?
Their faith. Having faith. That's the only thing that differentiates them. It's not the color, not the background, the race, not any of that. It's just how much faith they have.
So this is all like downtown, where all the, if you hear about the Portland protests and all the Fed clashing and everything, this is just a couple blocks away. I live downtown Port, like I can hear all that stuff at night. I'm just some like 6-7 blocks away. And then the famous Apple store, the only place in downtown Portland where you have like all the chain stores, like this is Louis Vuitton, and Macy's and Apple store. They're all like in the city of Portland. They're all in this like little square in the very center of the downtown area. And Portland's like a mini city. Okay. And so this artwork, they boarded up all these expensive places, these big places. And then there was a commissioned art. All this is the commissioned artwork. Like if you walk around and if you look down on the bottoms here, you can see like, if you can make out some of the artists here. And I did get a picture of the project that this actor, like the person who put this together, and how you can support those people.
Say, if my heart stops turning, will the world
do the same? My heart stops turning, will the world do the same? Huh.
It's amazing, the connection between art and revolution. It's coming up again and again and again and again. Like, I really appreciated your question yesterday with the incarceration panel, and I'm not surprised by the response, but I do appreciate it being said that way. The role of music in helping each of these brothers choose the path that they were in and go from that space they were in to where they are now. And each and every one of them said, had, because you said it's just a show of hands and it was all there.
It's amazing. I think you and I have talked about the resilient art that comes out of the most oppressive situations before.
Yeah.
And that's where we are right now. The artistry, when we look back however many years, 20 years from now, we're going to look back at between 2019 and 2025 and go, oh my Lord, look at the art that was coming out of here,
Yeah, and this is something that at least all Sudanese were just in shock at the amount of, at the wave of creativity that was coming out of Sudan during the revolution, all the paint, the graffiti, every single creative way you can imagine, from song to art to poetry to you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, one of the first things they did to try and erase that was to paint over that art. By they, I mean this transitional facade of whatever law that they have, was just paint over all this art. Because if I'm seeing this image, I don't need someone to explain to me what it is. I don't need someone to give me words of what it is. I feel
Yes.
the pain in this in this image, in who drew it and who put it there. And just I have a glimpse of what they were feeling, and I'm connected to them. And that's something no one has anything or any power to affect or impact. The only way they can stop that communication, that connection between myself and the artist, is by painting over it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that that's something that we can get through art, including music and food. We don't have to speak the same language, but the feeling that can come from that is like a direct. It's like you don't have to work to really feel it, to feel the person, to understand what's happening on a vibrational level.
So give me a
Yeah.
second. I want to see what my sister's looking for here as I take over her desk and space and office / garage. What do you need?
Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. Oh, this is the project itself. Expression against oppression. So if you like this artwork and you have a little cash or something, you can support the artist. I actually saw some of them out there making some of this art. There's a Venmo one there. It looks like, oh my gosh, what does it look like? Take up space. Take up space. That's the name of the Venmo, and that's the name of the Cash App to support artist supplies. And this is like a real thing. This isn't like some scam. This is like a real thing somebody put together. I actually think it's probably on Instagram. I think all of this is on Instagram, something expression against oppression. The woman who put it together and brought all these artists together to do this was out there. I've seen some of the artists out there updating their work, or sometimes they change it out. It's been up, gosh, it's been up now for like almost 2 months. All this artwork. There's a lot of it. This is not at the same. This is where, like, if you see in Portland where the feds are standing in front of the buildings and stuff, and then all the people are outside. I'm on the outside. I didn't go to those. I don't go to the protests. I'm not there at night. But this is where a protester would be standing, and then on the inside, this is before they put up the gate I'm standing behind. So people just put everything all over the building. And what I find interesting, I don't know how much you can see, but you'll see like all these parts and all these beautiful words, and then you'll see like fuck something, or you'll see like death to the, or you'll see like right next to, it's like everybody's feelings, everybody's emotions, everything is written on the building.
Did you read? I read an article. It was reflecting and looking at how, because at some point there was the graffiti over some of the statues, right? And
Yeah.
and they called it, what did they call it? oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. What's it called? Vandalism. And it was, and the article was saying that it shouldn't be called vandalism, and it should be looked at from a different perspective, that in many ways this is a reaction, and just as much as these statues are heritage or are, you know, history, or are honoring something or some part of history, looking at considering this reaction at this monumental time, and that we're living in, is also history, is history in the making. And if those statues are history, then you shouldn't look at the graffiti or the addition or the reaction to them right now as anything less than that. Because if people have to walk around it and see it, and, you know, trigger whatever emotions it is, then you know what? Then down the line, people seeing that statue and seeing all the writing on it, or, you know, seeing these feelings and these emotions that are expressed very clearly on these statues, these slave owners, these oppressors, what, it shouldn't be taken. And it made a very, I have to remember the name of it, it's escaping me right now, but it was a very, very interesting article, and the argument it made was very solid. And I think you can see it in you can see it in the anger, in the rage, in the combination of emotions that you're seeing here. Like, you see the heart, down there, in yeah, and but you also see the darkness that is around it, and then right on top you see, what does it say?
Oh, it's a precinct.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's interesting is every day, the next day, there's people out there cleaning. There's random people cleaning up art off of buildings. And why say hello, welcome. This is Family Hour, so if you want to join us in the studio, feel free. We have the link here. Yeah,
I'll put it in.
Okay.
Oh, are you doing?
No, go for it. Go for it. Hi. I hope I'm saying your name right. Turquoise is a big supporter of just my growth and development. We have never met, so blessings. Thank you for being here. Yeah, you know, I see people cleaning every day, and the first day I went down, I had a really interesting interaction. It was the day after, like, in the first like month. This was probably like 3 weeks after Africa Week 2020 in May. So, you know, so George Floyd had been lynched about a month before this, and I went down to take pictures. It wasn't this time. This was a different time. And there's this big elk in the middle of the street that in Portland that everybody loves. This elk. It's a huge statue. It doesn't have any sort of, as far as I know, any sort of racial, like, there's nothing about it that's like, you know, bad racially or anything. I think there's some sexist stuff about it, but it's not a monument that really holds a lot of. The most value this elk holds is that people just like seeing it. You know, it just makes them feel like this is home in Portland. And it's like right in the center of where people drive in, like right off the bridge if they're coming into the city downtown part area. And they people were vandalizing it, and it was getting really close to like if the city doesn't take it down, then people are gonna like do something to like destroy it. And so they took it down, and then people started lighting fires like in that sort of like area that was holding the monument and everything, and destroying the bricks and everything. And there are these women out there. There's like 3 or 4 Black women, a couple white women out there, and they were cleaning up. They're cleaning up after a day of these protests about a month in. And I went over and I was like, "Do you mind if I ask what you're doing?" And they were a little bit on edge because, well, where we were standing, where there was like fights going on between police and because George Floyd died, and the fights going on between police and feds and people, and we're all wearing masks, and because I asked a clarifying question, and in this day and age, sometimes when you ask a clarifying question, it puts somebody on edge, and And so they were like, can't you, one of them turned around and snapped at me. He was like, can't you see what we're doing? And I was like, I don't want to make any assumptions because I really don't know. And I'm just curious. So I'm asking, I don't want to make any assumptions here. And so then two of them were kind with me and they were like, oh, we're cleaning up because we just don't, so they started going into like, we just don't think that this should be done to our city. And we think it's mature and, you know, we should keep our city clean and everything. And I totally, what was so interesting about, and then a guy came, because this is right across the street from the federal building where all this happens. Then a white guy came down who's obviously a well-known government official. I did not recognize him. And then a couple other guys came on their lunch break and they helped them. And they were like, you know, they were saying that this is vandalism and blah, 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 and destruction of property. And I was just like, interesting, because I could feel what they were feeling. I could understand, although I did not agree even a little bit. And I was like, oh, and they're like, well, you can join us. There's extra gloves and masks. And I was like, no. I was like, I don't agree. This doesn't work for me, but I appreciate what you're doing. But I'll make an announcement and people might come over. Like it was this weird thing where I was like, I don't agree with it. I think it's ridiculous to clean this up and to spend your time to clean it up. But I also understand why, like from there, like why it was in parts to do it. And also was willing to send people their way because I know there's other people who are friends of mine who feel that way. And I was like, God, we're in this interesting time where like everything that has to do with these charged points of focus, where if you're open and you're awake and you're looking, there's many different things that you can feel all at the same time and many different ways to interact with them. And I'm finding that I'm grouping myself with people who, as far as friends and who I hang out with and create with, people who are able to look at the world in that way. That's all I have to say about that. It was just an experience I had.
No, thank you for sharing that. And it's you've seen a bit of it. I mean, I know I've seen it in the protests in Egypt, uh, and at the sit-in in Sudan as well. You know, there was this, because somehow, you know, there's this correlation between chaos, complete chaos, and the need for it to be visible. And then on the counter side of it is, well, no, because we really also, we can be angry without causing destruction. We can be angry, but also show that, you know, we can keep things under control. And there was a big part of that that was seen in the sit-in, you know, that they took turns in cleaning and paving and repaving and painting and repainting the pavements and the streets and the roads. And they had missions that went to every corner of that sit-in to make sure everything was set and everything was in order, so that there was no excuse later for it to be said, which is what happened ultimately. They said an excuse that, oh, they were like, I don't know, like drugs or inappropriate behavior, blah 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 blah, whatever they're gonna come up with to try and disperse that. Yeah, and that the truth is, you'll always have something trying to reframe what you know. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, this one, a lot of people took a pic. I saw this all over, like everywhere, you know, like people's Facebooks and stuff like that. Black women inspire me. Yeah, you know, I really appreciate when people see me in my humanity and I'm fighting a certain way or I'm creating in a certain way. And even if it's not, I really have an appreciation when people are like, even if they're not down with it, like it's just not the way they would do it. And maybe they even find a bit of fault in it, but they can feel me and my integrity and my heart. And they trust in what even though they don't get it and they might be slightly against certain things, they have a trust in my journey and what I might have an ability to create, even if they, you know, And I really have a high respect for when people approach me like that, because I feel like because of the culture we're living in, because of, everybody's dealing with their own pain and purging on each other and afraid and looking for a leader, and thinking that, the system's going to save them. It's a challenge sometimes to walk through life like that, to see something that you might not be down with, but also to tolerate it and be like, okay, I
Yeah.
respect this person and their humanity. Let's all keep going. Oh, so there's names here. I didn't notice this before, like Ava DuVernay,
So people sign. There's Sonia.
Katherine Johnson, Passion Poison Waters. I think some of these are poets and movie makers, and I can't read that. Bujera something Jackson, Jackson, maybe.
I can't see it.
Oh, whoops. Are you still looking?
Nope.
Okay. Oops. Okay. No justice, no peace. There's like some sort of anime thing going on here, maybe.
Is it a bit of a comment?
It looks like it's me. I see that like hand up in the middle with some bullhorns on this. Oh no, with axes. And then in the middle there looks like something going on with balance. And then at the bottom there's like, some sort of thing that's saying fighting. And this woman right here, almost there's feathers.
I see the feathers. I don't see the hand. I don't see the fist.
Like right here, like I think that's just part of a fist right there.
I see lips.
I think those are eyes, those are eyebrows, and that's somebody's.
I see the eyes and the eyebrows, but then I feel like it's like almost like someone speaking from behind, like close to the eyes.
I thought that was like the thumb and then the nail. Can I make this bigger? Did that get bigger?
Nope.
Okay. And then there's these women looking like they're dancing in the moon or something like that. I love the feathers. I love feathers. Some panthers. That's why I think that's a fist, because there's a fist here. And they're talking about panthers.
Oh.
But maybe
you can see the fist at the top. Well, I wasn't looking at the top, to be honest. I was trying to see the balance one.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, but it seems to have something to do with balance. I bet there's someone out there who like totally. There's probably like a group of. There's like an in crowd probably that's like, duh, that's a blah blah blah.
Maybe restoring balance. Oh, we can hope. We can hope. Oh, and that's another. We had the accidental activist panel today.
Yeah.
That was fun.
How did that go?
That was fun. Saba is amazing. We welcome the new family member. Oh, no, actually, I remembered what I wanted to tell you. When you're saying that, you appreciate that some people won't necessarily do things the way you do them, or wouldn't go the route that you would go in a certain situation, but they feel you and they feel where you are in relation to something. I remembered you this morning at with the brothers panel, the Black men panel, because Elaine was saying something along these lines, like, we all have our square basically, and how we step into that square, and how we take control of that square, and how we step into our truth and our power within whatever movement is up to us. Like how we fight for what we want is up to us. There's nothing saying, and we've had this conversation over and over again, because especially as all of this was happening, you and I were in the biggest bubble of all, as the inaugural Africa Week 2020, and as soon as we step out of that bubble, that sense of unity, that sense of family, and we look outside the window and just like everything is just in flames, and it's like, right, well, we want to do something about it. And I think this is what started this marathon of, okay, we're going to do this once a month, we're going to keep coming back once a month, because when we started, we said, okay, we'll see you September, and that was that. Like in the closing ceremony, we said we'll see you September. It was the plan. We were going to have a biannual family reunion, one in May for Africa Day, and one in September for African Heritage Month. And in many ways, our Juneteenth event was our way of being on the streets, or our ways of bringing the streets to the house, I suppose, to wherever we were. And this is again another example of, resistance. This is their form of resistance.
Yeah.
We see your magic. Yes, yes. Oh, you're sharing, so you can't see what I put in front of the camera.
A what? A what?
I said you were sharing. You can't see what I put in front of the camera.
Unicorn mode.
We see your magic.
Here's Tupac.
So we've gotten some questions about the streaming partnership. Do you want to take a moment to share about that?
Yeah.
So,
The streaming partnership is something that I've been noticing that's happening online quite a bit. There's two parts of it. The streaming partnership is working out some sort of partnership that makes sense for both Africa Week 2020 and whatever your organization group or whatever it is that you're doing, where we would have some sort of agreement of sharing what we're doing and sharing what we would share what you're doing and you would share what we're doing. With every group, it would be a little different because, there's some groups out there that have a feed going every week. And there's some groups that do something monthly. There's some groups that are like networks with a whole bunch of shows on that. And we are here at Africa Week evolving ourselves in how we have our biannual week-long events, and then we did once a month, but we also know we're going to take some sort of break. And so we're wanting to continue the connections going, and we're wanting to lift each other up in this online space that we're all using right now. So we want, basically, I'm talking about a trade. We have a network and a platform. You have a network and a platform, where you're starting a network and a platform. How do we share each other's things? How do we reciprocate? Because, a lot of the work that we do here is completely free. We don't make any money off of it. Deem and I don't make any money off of it. And as valuable as it can be, as much as we are drawn to doing this work, some sort of energetic reciprocation is important. How do we lift up? How do we also get lifted up? How do we also get supported in this? And so it would be of real help to with other streaming partners, with platforms, to share and do that with each other. So again, each trade, each partnership is going to be a little different because we're all doing a little different things, and that's why we have an application to say, like, what are you doing? And I'll put it in box here.
We have, it's on the website, isn't it? It is. You sent me the link. I'm just trying to pull it.
Streaming part.
Yeah.
Yes, I actually don't know if that page ever got finished. The streaming partnership page. Did it get finished?
It looked like it was ready as an application.
Okay, I need to go check it again. Because I don't know if I finished that page, if it's live. I'm so sorry. It might have been one of the things that slipped through the cracks. The application is finished, but the page itself might not be. So there's the link anyway for it. The other way that this can be done is, and a few of these shows are at Africa Week right now. We had them in this event, and maybe we'll continue. Is if you have a show like a streaming show, maybe you're doing your YouTube onto your podcasting onto YouTube now, or maybe you just do one from your page. Maybe you want to start one. Maybe you have an established one and you want to spread it to other places. We'd like to um, we'd like to share those shows and find some sort of trade that works for you and us, to boost up your shows on this platform. We have, any given time at Africa Week 2020, we found that we have like 20,000. We had over 50,000, I think it was, between May and now. People come through, even if they're not watching live. We have a lot of people who go through our videos.
Our first week, just the first week, the first Africa Week 2020, we had surpassed 44,000. Just that week. Like at the end of our first week, our insight said 44,000. And then every event after that was no less than 15,000.
Yes.
Not events, every reunion after that, every get together, and those were the much shorter ones. Those were like the 12-hour ones.
Yes. So we want to keep the momentum going, and we want to amplify the voices that we want to amplify, get your messages out there. We have this platform, we might as well use it for the people who want to do it. You'll see my show is on there, 6T. It was birthed by coming into Africa Week in May last year, and now I have this show 6T that I keep doing outside. I'll keep doing outside of Africa Week, but it'll start appearing in Africa Week on a regular basis. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about. Yeah. So that also is in the same application that we put in the chat here.
Yeah, I want to say that it's on the website because it's you have it on the website because you connect it to the application here that you have.
Okay, I'll check it tonight and make sure the page is finished the way so it looks nice. I don't know if I actually finished it.
It looks great because at the end of it has the mission, just in case people still want to go and be sure.
Do you think that answers all the questions about that?
I feel it does. I also want to highlight that this is really, it goes back to how we started this, and at first we weren't really sure who's going to be tuning in, who's going to be interested. We knew people will show up. If you remember, I kept saying, I keep seeing the number 33, I keep seeing the number 33, and I think on our 5th day, we had hit the 33 mark, the 33,000 mark. But we had no idea who would tune in. And we want to be able to share that with the family because that's what we said we'd do. And if we're asking the family to honor their word, if we're asking people to, if you're presenting something, if you say you'll do something, then show up and do it. Then we're here for it. We're here to do the same. And we said we'd amplify you and your work as a member, as a family member of the Africa Week 2020 extended family, the global family, then this is what we want to do. So if you have an idea and you're not sure who's going to like it, if anyone's going to like it, if it's going to resonate with anyone, give it a shot, give it a chance, come and give it a try, have an episode or two and see their reaction. And even if you have an idea but you don't know, you don't want to go about it on your own, reach out to us. That's something we can do. We can put it out. We can say, hey, so and so is looking for a partner or for someone to venture out and have a show on XYZ. Be it cooking, be it poetry, be it music, whatever it is that you're looking to do. Just give it a try. Who knows? You might inspire someone else in the family to do the same. Um, in fact, I'm hoping at least two people will give this a shot. And I'm really, really hoping I've pushed Saba already with her first Saba Speaks Solidarity. And maybe that turns into something. But this will also allow for us to keep doing what we're doing. Because when we come back for the May reunion next year, and we know we have 24 hours for 7 days long, we want to know that we don't need to ask and look for people to come through and say, okay, this is what I want to do, because we already have a few shows, we have a few programs that come back and do this all the time already. You would have your base, you would have your following, if you will, from within the family. So it would facilitate um, getting more sleep, and that way Facebook doesn't need to block our our streaming of films or documentaries or so on. So give it a try. I think that answers all. If you do have questions, reach out to us. You have that ticker at the bottom. We're at Africa Week 2020 on all social media platforms. You can send us an email at africaweek2020@gmail. And I don't know, you can hop into the family hour. We're gonna try and have a few more of them along the week. So hop on, ask your questions. Let's see if we can give it a shot. If you have an idea, we can have a brainstorming session live here. Who knows? You might end up having your partners and launch your own show this week if you have the idea for it, or if you know someone who has the idea for it, let us know. Or someone who should have their show for it, let us know.
So this is a picture of the the feds in Portland calling them, and it's calling them the Gestapo. One of the things that was really interesting was both you and Ronell, I think, or maybe it's you and Wafa. I'm not sure. Two of you were like, when you were seeing the pictures in Portland, you were like, "Whoa, this is what was happening exactly in Sudan."
Yeah.
It's crazy to see that people rolling out of cars and taking people off the streets and coming out of buildings in full SWAT gear, and
They're all taking they're taking it out of the same book.
yeah,
I swear it's like almost like they took the 1984 book as their guide, George Orwell's 1984 book. And this was something, you know what? One of the peaks for the sales of that book was during the Arab tsunami. It's not a spring. Uh, that they had all that wave of protests across the Arab world, the North Africa. Um, was that it's like people started drawing these comparisons that these so-called leaders were doing, were following step by step what what we read in the book, uh, be it censorship, be it the distortion of an understanding of, like, the Ministry of Truth is what shares all spreads all the lies, and it's basically that. And I think it extends beyond the continent, beyond the Arab world, beyond, it's not to one part. It is to any place that is not, where the power is not with the people. And I think people are waking up to them. I'm glad people are waking up to it. I don't think that they are. I know that they are. But I'm glad that they are now.
This one has a cat in it.
I see the cat, but what's that thing in the middle?
I think.
I see kids.
Yeah, it's kids, and I think it's a mother with her hands, like it's all arms and hands with hands out. Like I think she's going like this, and I can't see what she's offering. I think they're just all holding onto her hand.
Poor people, trans women, queer folk communities. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not totally sure what's going. Oh, it's hand. The whole thing is hands holding a child in the middle. Some sort of child in the middle. I don't know what the cat thing above is about. Inside the cat is a heart, a book, and some other object. I really don't know. This one isn't totally finished either because some of the letters up here aren't colored in. But again, for those who are just joining us, these are all the paintings downtown Portland where they've boarded up all the like Louis Vuitton and the Mac store. And I think like, I don't know if it's Macy's. It's something like that though. It's like Lord and Taylor. Oh, what's here? Lord and Taylor, but anyway, big department stores. And it's called Expression Against Oppression. This woman put together all these local artists, and you can support them and get them art supplies by Venmoing or Cash Apping to Take Up Space.
Can you tell me what it is again? I'll type it here in the comments for anyone who watches.
Yeah. Expression Against Oppression.
Expression. Is that their Venmo?
No, I'm just giving you a title.
Oh, okay.
Expression Against Oppression. And then it says support artists, supplies, and funding. And then the Venmo is at Take Up Space. And the Cash App is $ Take Up Space.
Ooh. We lost Alexandra. Here is the information if you'd like to support.
Hey, I knocked myself out of the studio. My hands are doing weird things where I keep knocking myself out of the studio. Okay, hold on. Oh, these are all the Africa Week pictures. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, there's a few more. Okay, here's Elijah McClain.
Is that our Elijah?
Is that what?
Is that our Elijah? Like our Africa Week 2020?
No. I mean Elijah McClain that died. Oh, it's hard to keep all the names straight that have died. It's hard to remember all of them.
For Elijah McClain, but it. I don't know. I guess I felt a bit of his. So, but is that where? Oh well, no, it wasn't. Because he's in California, isn't he?
This isn't what?
He's in California.
Our Elijah?
Yeah.
Our Elijah is in some city in Nevada, like Joshua Tree, Nevada, I think. Our painter, we'll show that painting too. Elijah Fotenhauer.
Yeah.
So when we were talking earlier, how this whole inspiration came, there's a lot of layers, but one of the layers was Dima was telling me about how what they did in Sudan was the first thing they did was paint over the murals that told the stories that empowered the people when the regime came in. And so that was painful for a lot of people and really stood out. And so one of the things she was saying when we were putting together Black Woman, I Promise You, was there needs to be a painter. There needs to be a painter. And I had sort of like taken over that project. And so we hadn't talked about it for a long time, but it just kept echoing in my head of like this story of things getting painted over and that we needed this painter. And so finally I was like, you know what? Like this will not be complete unless that painter is there. And so Elijah then went and watched a earlier thing that we did with storytelling teens. I am more resilient. The storytelling teens, you can find that in our Africa Week Facebook page. You'll find them. I am more resilient, and they were showing some of their fashion shows that they did as with poetry that they were doing as a project from a couple years ago, and one of the lighting from it like inspired Elijah Fotenhauer. So we have these layers of everything going on. And while we did Black Woman I Promise You, which you should also look up from our Bambula event, a whole bunch of poets doing amazing poets, powerful poets doing pieces called Black Woman I Promise You. Look at it, share it everywhere.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up now.
He did a live painting, and he actually has a live time-lapse camera of him doing this that he's going to share with me. We just haven't, I just think he hasn't gotten around to it, but there we go. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. And his name is Elijah Fotenhauer, and you can find him on Instagram at Painted Ladder. Painted Ladder.
Sorry. I'm pulling it up so I can put it in the. Here's the Black Woman I Promise You.
Oh, I think I already showed that. Oh, okay. Here's some more. I can't read a lot of the writing. Yeah, so there's a lot of what's interesting. What's happening during the day here in Portland is I don't know if it's still happening, but as I was walking around, well, first of all, there was so much pepper gas in the air, pepper spray in the air, that on the day later, first of all the animals moved out from away from downtown, but also like just being in the air, I'm super sensitive. I could feel it. I was coughing, I was itching just walking by, and I was like, how are people in this in the middle of the day? Marissa. Yes, we've talked to him about it, and we're going to keep talking to him about it. How can he offer it as a print or for sale? We just need to talk to him about it again. We just haven't. We started planning for September is what happened. But it will be when that becomes available, which it will at some point in whatever way makes sense for all of us. You will not miss it. As long as you are liking and following Africa Week 2020, you won't miss it. It is in the works.
All right. Well, we are coming close to our hour.
It's been an hour?
Yeah, well, it's 15 minutes, so we're coming close to the end of our family hour.
I am going to head out then.
Yes. I will stretch those legs. And I'm so grateful for my sister. I asked you to pray for her and send her blessings because she prepared the stock for the all-nighter. So for those of you who missed earlier today, as a way to honor our word for continuous live streaming, since Facebook will block any attempt of sharing any documentaries, we are going to try. I am going to be live. I'm going to be working, but I'm going to share the screen, share the comments, a link for a virtual co-working space. So if you have something that you need to be working on and you don't want to be working on it alone, or you'd like to be working with someone, we're all going to be doing our own thing, but we're going to be together in this space. We can either mute or not mute. I'll have some nice African beats in the background, courtesy of Henri Pierre. if you missed that media panel earlier today, go back and watch it. But we're going to be there, and I'm going to be playing that in the background as we do our respective work. And then every now and then we'll take a break. We'll come together, have some tea, have some coffee, have a chat, stretch. Um, it's just like, you know, cramming all-nighter days in college, in uni, in Think Impact Hub, and WeWork, except uh, COVID-induced measures. So it's virtual co-working space. All are welcome. Um, Marissa's saying, yes, I am following and excited for a print. You are not alone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us. If you are doing something, if you know someone who's going to be up doing something and they don't want to be doing it alone or just to connect with us, again, we're going to have the virtual co-working space. We still haven't, I haven't thought of the name really yet. Probably will at some point later today. But I'll be here. Join, come through. I'll probably take about maybe 15 minutes or so, just getting a few snacks and things in order, and I will be back. So,
All right.
Tata, thank you for joining us. No, we're going to close this. I'm going to start a new thing because this closing our family hours, it's sacred. It's Mama and Tata together. So we'll put that, and I'll start a new one. So refresh, go get your teas, your coffee, your juice, and I'll see you back in a little bit.
All right.
Bye, Tata.
Bye. Bye, Mama.